This is the Lenderblock podcast, brought to you by Lenderblock Corporation, the creators of the Blender platform and the partner platform. This is the Lenderblock podcast.
Welcome back. Come on now. Let's go. Another Saturday.
Let's go.
Come on now. We back.
Guys, we appreciate y'all for tuning in with us right now. We're a little bit late. We know y'all.
Tranquilo.
Calma. We're very happy that you guys are with us today. For a very good podcast schedule for you guys. How y'all feel? I always gotta ask y'all, how y'all doing?
It's another Saturday, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here. Blessed. Thanksgiving was just happening. I had a lot of family vibes. You know what I'm saying? I'm full. You know what I'm saying? It's good vibes, man. Good time of year. I love the holiday season.
Bro, it's the best time of year, bro.
Sure.
Best time of year. Christmas coming around.
Gotta sing on my list.
Don't send it to me. Send it down.
Send it to Michael. Let's send it to Michael.
Send it to CEO.
What's on your list? What's on the thing you want?
Like a secret
Secret
Santa.
Santa. We can do a Secret Santa. We can do one.
Let me see. What I want? I don't know. I need a new Mac, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I still got my high school Mac. I need a new computer. Listen, it might be a little. I'm gonna tell my girl about it. Hey, baby, I need a Mac.
I need one of these.
Oh yeah. Oh, you gotta hook me up with some APPAREL, bro. I straight to
need one of these.
Like a tech. You hear me? Come on now, get into it. Let's go. Talk about it.
Let's get into it, guys. Lenderblock Corporation, we are a software development firm focusing on providing equitable credit access for all individuals FICO-FREE. And we do this via two main applications. We have the Blender platform, our first application, and the partner platform. The Blender platform allows you to create your own credit lines. As a borrower, you can choose your own interest rate and minimum monthly payment. You can select your own credit limit, which is equal to the amount of collateral that you're able to put down for yourself just to start off. And then you're able to put your credit line out on a platform where other members who are acting as borrowers, as lenders, can see these credit lines and choose to lend to them. Give me some reverb back here. But as a lender, you can choose the different credit lines, which are the most profitable, the most lucrative, based on the payments that have been coming back from the borrowers, which ones offer the highest interest rates for compounding payments, as well as which ones have the most lender engagement. So you're going to be, as a lender, looking for the different credit lines that are the most reasonable to invest in, the most profitable for you to put money into. So it's kind of this system of bartering back and forth where borrowers are putting out what they can afford, what they can offer to lenders, and other members who have money to lend to those individuals are basically looking and saying, okay, this one looks pretty profitable, this one looks pretty dependable, something I can predict to earn some ROI from, and they put money in. So that's really the Blender platform. It's built to kind of eliminate the dependence of large financial institutions from our financial system. A lot of people are barred from credit access, whether it's due to poor debt to equity ratios, whether it's due to high student loan debt, whether it's due to low FICO credit scores. And this is why we're offering this collateralized system of lending and borrowing, just to kind of level the playing field for those who are disadvantaged, which, being in Baltimore City, we know a lot of people, and some of us even know people in our family or even ourselves who struggle with this, So that's where the Blender platform is kind of coming from in general. The partner platform is similar but different. The partner platform allows members to create interest compounding, interest-free rotational fund saving groups. Now, we had a very rough morning, so give me some time here. Now, look, you're able to put money into these pools. Let's say you have 10 people. You all put in $100 into the pool. Well, you say it's my turn to withdraw first. I created the pool and I invited all the members and say, okay, it's my turn to withdraw first. I'm going to get to withdraw $900 from the contributions of all the 9 other members in my 10-person pool, which includes me. Now, the next person will have a turn to withdraw $900, and I won't have the turn to withdraw, but I'll have to contribute to them. And for the next 9 months after my turn, I will contribute $100 per month, and that will add up to having contributed $900 and withdrawn $900 after one full cycle has completed, after every person in the group has had the turn to withdraw. It's a cultural system. You may know what I'm talking about. There's something called Susu or Partner if you're from the Caribbean or West Africa. But also, if you're Latin, then you might know it as tanda, puntas, or cuchupales, or panderos. If you're Asian, East Asian specifically, I know that it's called hui. So these are different names that you may know about. And it's a cultural practice. It's nothing new. And neither is the blended platform. What we do is take social practices commonly seen within societies and try to revolutionize them for the modern world. Right? We're trying to kind of there are a lot of issues that can go along with doing a lending and borrowing service within your family, or even trying to pool up funds together in your family, right? You might not have the transaction records, or maybe have an uncle who never, pays his turn, but is ready to withdraw whenever it's his turn to withdraw, And that's what we're trying to kind of mitigate against. We're trying to mitigate against those incongruencies due to lacking infrastructure or lacking documentation. Yeah. So it's cool. That's our whole mission here. And by using our apps, you're supporting us. You're supporting us to grow our business, to do more things, to expand our network. And our mission is to kind of just put this in the hands of as many people as possible. We want everyone to be using our platforms because there's no need for banks anymore. We have decentralized software. We have smart contracts. We can do all this lending and borrowing and financial, just sharing in our community. You don't need to go to the bank. We also have apparel. You guys know our apparel thing is really big too. People like our clothing a lot. You can see some items here. I'll show y'all. See, we have some clothing items here. Some pretty nice buckets. We have some hats here. And we also have this is my favorite. This is our t-shirt that a lot of us rock a lot. I have it on right now. We have some tough polos as well. Polos are cool. Dads love these polos. Like they're really good quality polos. We also have a new line that has recently come out. Our new line came out around a month ago. That's developed by our Chief Merchandising Officer, Naomi Worster. That's developed. It's just a really tough line. Really cool hoodies. You can check out the photo shoots online. Really cool sweats to joggers. The combo together is really nice. And then also we have like really cool long sleeve. My uncle just bought a long sleeve, really likes it. Big guy, double XL guy, but it fits well. It's a good shirt, good winter shirt. So check out all that stuff. The photo shoot's lit too. And if you guys want, if you buy the items, send us photos, DM, put them in our Discord, anywhere. Just send them to us, and we'll put them up. So we want to actually show a community here. And if you want to be a part of that community and you want to be posted on our Instagram or whatever else, we can do that. So. And we'd love to do that. So share your pictures with us if you buy our clothing items. We want to create a community. Also, Lenderblock platforms, the Blended platform and the partner platform are both available in Espanol right now. So they're both available in Spanish. That was a recent thing that we did. Is to open it up for everyone. So we understand that these are cultural practices. We want everyone to take part.
Definitely.
In Spanish now. And we also have our verified registry. This is the last thing I want to cover really quickly. The Blender platform allows members, as you know, to create credit lines, but the credit lines are predicated on collateral. So you need a collateral to be put down to enable your credit limit. So your credit limit is equal to the collateral, right? However, we give out free credit limits to increase members' collateral pro bono. So you don't have to put down your own collateral 100%. You just need to go through our verified registry. So you can have your free credit limit added on if you submit some documents. These documents are our verified registry form, and that form is supplicated with where you have a proof of residence, proof of identity, and proof of recurring income. And when you submit those proofs, you go through your app and you'll see different check marks showing that you submitted and satisfied the different requirements. And once you submitted and satisfied all the requirements and you have all green checks, you can then go to your credit line and request additional collateral assistance at will, and we distribute that within a threshold. So up to a threshold. We don't just, you can't just ask for $1 million up front, but we do support members, and there have been members who have benefited from that. So definitely try to take part in that. That's a big one. Once again, guys, really happy that you're able to tune in with us. We thank you for tuning in. We're a little bit late, a little bit of technical difficulty, but this was all in a big effort to make sure that you're fully prepared for our interview guest today. As you know, Lenderblock Corporation software development firm. We make our own software in-house because it's just something that we do. That's our mission. That's our real purpose here. Everything else that we're doing is kind of just to support our inner mission of building up this software and distributing that out to the public and allowing them to take part and benefit from the type of interconnection that the apps provide. However, in the decentralized space, it's very important for us to reach out and collaborate with other companies doing other interesting things.
Yeah.
There's a company now that I want you guys to become aware of. It's myZorro.io. This is a company founded by two individuals that we know very well. Well enough. We went to high school with them, but they were much older than we were at the time. And kind of circling back around, we found, hey, these guys have something pretty cool going on. We're bringing them on the podcast in a little bit. But before I bring them on, let me give you a pretty proper guest for them. So our podcast guests are Nigel Winfield, Nigel Sydnor, and Winfield Willis. So Nigel Sydnor and Winfield Willis are the founders of myZorro.io, which is a platform which allows members to buy portions of real estate property and share the dividends earned from that property acquisition. It is a nonprofit. It is a business, not a nonprofit. It is a business that focuses on development of real estate within Baltimore specifically, and providing access to real estate investment by minorities, which are typically barred from it.
Mm.
Very big point. So you can kind of see the applicability here of why we're bringing them on this podcast right now. Very big, hyped up guests, and maybe we're going to bring them on pretty shortly. How do you guys feel before we bring them on? Guys, I'm a little bit scatterbrained right now. We had a really rough morning.
Good though. I mean, I'm glad we're here. Honestly, I'm glad to be another Saturday, like I said. But I'm excited about these two guys.
They're pretty good.
Oh my goodness.
You guys remember them when we were younger, yeah?
Of course. You know, they was St. Paul's legends in my eyes, to be honest with you. You know, I played basketball.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I did, and I was always looking up to them. I swear to God.
Yeah.
I mean, in middle school when they was on varsity, it was like, I can't wait to see them play. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
I know they ready ball out.
Yeah.
There's a couple more guys on that team. They had a good team for real.
Back then, the team was good.
Solid. Right? They had what else? They had Tanner on there. They had Lamont. You know what I mean? You feel me? There was a lot of athletes on that team.
That guy Tanner, yeah, good shooter.
No, for real. He's definitely key. Bro, looking up to them guys for real though. I already knew they was gonna be on bigger and better stuff. Yeah. You feel me? Even leaving, like the repetition they left at St. Paul's, you knew they was gonna like trying to get into what they do in the future now. So I'm not surprised at all. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited to hear that story and how they even came to be where they are today. You know what I'm saying? Perfect, bro.
Let's go. Now, guys, we welcome on Nigel and Winfield. I think you guys should be able to see them, yeah? Nigel and Winfield, can you speak to the camera real quick? Let's make sure they can hear you.
Absolutely. How you guys doing?
Welcome.
What's going on?
Well. Yeah, so how do you guys feel, man? We're glad we could get you on. It was kind of tough to schedule. You guys are both pretty busy. So let's kind of run through how we know you. We all went to St. Paul School for Boys, right? The age difference here is when you guys were seniors, we were in 8th grade, watching you guys play varsity basketball games. And that's kind of, that's the background that we have here. And now you're continuing to lead in a very powerful way, providing great examples and being open to connect with the kids who, not kids, but we were at the time, the guys who came under you. So we're pretty happy to connect with you, man. Both of you guys are really doing some cool things in the areas of real estate. And I want you to kind of get through how you guys got into real estate, how you guys went from playing basketball at St. Paul's to college to entrepreneurship, pretty much everything. So let's start with St. Paul's. How did you guys get into St. Paul's? When did you guys start going to St. Paul's?
Well, you can go first, bro. I was recruited by Nigel to come to St. Paul. So me and Nigel actually went to Cardinal Gibbons together. And Nigel went to St. Paul's and he was saying how great it was and how they wanted to build a team to win on the basketball court. So we end up coming, and seeing the school and end up saying like, hey, like this is a great place. Let me join, great team as well as get a great education.
about you, Nigel?
Yeah, let me jump in. So, like Wynn said, we started off at Cardinal Gibbons. That school was growing. I had a lot of different opportunities there at Cardinal Gibbons, but for us, we knew that we were built to go a little different. We saw an opportunity at St. Paul's on the academic side to be able to really do some of the cool things that we wanted to do academically. But most importantly, we said, if we come together and we push each other, we've been pushing each other athletically our whole life, both on and off the court. The sky is the limit. So we stepped into an environment that, like none other, right? I mean, I think that our previous academic experiences, there's been a lot more black people, right? I mean, I think going to St. Paul's is probably a handful of black people, and primarily, the black people, the athletes. So we wanted to put ourselves in I don't want to say a hostile environment, but a different environment to what we're used to, and seeing if we could win on every avenue. And I think that we took that opportunity, and I think Winfield had 3 years there. I had 4 years there. We came out on top. We were able to proliferate an opportunity from St. Paul's, and then being able to move that into college athletics, and then now being able to work really cool together, hand in hand in business.
That's awesome.
Man, for real, bro. That's amazing. I didn't, to be honest with you, bros, I didn't know that you guys were together for so long, even from Cardinal Shin. You said Cardinal, what is it, Cardinal Gibbons, my fault. Cardinal Gibbons all the way up to college.
Gibbons, yeah.
That's wild. Y'all real true brothers, bro, for real.
So how was St. Paul's back then?
I appreciate it.
With the difference of there must have been less black people at St. Paul at the time. When we were there, we had 13 kids in our graduating class.
I think we was the most, right?
We were the most ever. We were the most ever. How was that back then? Earlier on at St. Paul's, were the racial difficulties more difficult to overcome?
Yeah, I don't think it was a difficulty on overcoming anything. What I think St. Paul's provides, especially kids that live in a different environment, it provides a culture shock and an adjustment period that you need, right? And a lot of times it's social, cultural, and then maybe academic.
Yeah.
So when you don't have a tight-knit group, or you are unsure of yourself, you see a lot of people have problems in St. Paul's because there is no cultivation of self for a black boy at St. Paul's. There's a forced assimilation, and that can be fine, but what you really want is to find who you are, what you stand for, and how to utilize the tools from that environment to give you a better future.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, let me double down on that. So, like, for me, what was cool about St. Paul's was it was like a tale of two cities, right? So you wake up in your environment when you wake up, right? You don't live in the St. Paul's world. But then once you get dressed, you start to move into more of their bubble. So we put on our tie, we put on our blazer, we put on our khakis, even the shoes they want to wear, right? So in many ways that was called dressing for success, whatever that means, right? So being able to go from our environment over to that St. Paul's bubble, but being able to get that exposure and understanding that, hey, this is the academic elite, and that I know I can thrive politically with my peers, but now I can academically stand on my own. It was really comforting for me while being uncomfortable, and I think even to this day, I think that's what allows us to be able to be dynamic in the entrepreneurial field, and being able to mitigate some of the changes, and being able to ride the roller coaster, and understand that, hey, look, there's going to be changes, there'll be pivots, but at the end of the day, you're built for this because of the exposure that you had. You're built for this because no matter which room you walk into, you have a dynamic ability to adapt, but also being able to provide perspective, because going into that St. Paul's bubble, but then still being an athlete, typically we went into some of the toughest parts of Baltimore City at that same day, that same evening, to go play basketball, right? So you get the grit where you got to grind in the morning on the academic side, but then you also got to grind as far as on the athletic side at night, and really just go and become a full package of everything that you want to be.
For sure. Absolutely. It is a tale of two cities for that reason. You have to be able to adapt. That's the one thing that we always said about going to St. Paul. It's like
every day.
going into the outside world, right? The macrocosm, right? You're leaving that microcosm of St. Paul's. It's like the situations that we encountered at St. Paul prepared us, right? Because it's a good slice of life to give you a pre-exposure to the real world, right? You're dealing with a bit of edgy personality. You're dealing with the riches and the poverties, and you're dealing with the highs and lows, and you're seeing the discrepancies between your standing, your family standing, and the kids who you're going to school with. So I definitely can understand where you're coming from with that. One thing that I do want to touch on is, where did you guys actually grow up? What part of Baltimore or Maryland did you guys commute from to get to St. Paul's?
Yeah, I commuted from West Baltimore, right? Forest Park, I guess it's called Howard Park now. But it took me about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to get to school. I would take Northern Parkway, get on 83, and you would see St. Paul's on the hill, riding up. And that was always significant to me because it let you kind of see, I guess figuratively, that you're going to the top of the hill, or you're going to a place where you look down upon the city. But it also gave me a little bit of motivation because you're seeing, like you said, those discrepancies. You're seeing the extreme poverty, you're seeing the extreme riches, and you see the bubble that people live in and how it's controlled and it's meant for them. And you feel like a guest in that bubble. So, as you drive through the city and you drive back, you kind of get your mind prepared as you move through those things. So you kind of see the whole spectrum of wealth in this country or poverty in this country. And it reminds you a lot of, where do I want to be, right? What do I want to do? Because I don't actually want to be in poverty. I don't actually want to be lower middle class. I want to be at the highest level. And for us, I think what we've done is we've taken those lessons and those observations and tried to apply them today. So, that was my commute, but it gave a lot of lessons driving there every day.
No, for sure.
Nigel, are you from West Baltimore too?
Nah, so I grew up in an area called East Rock, right? So East Rock wasn't too far from Golden Ring. I used to be Golden Ring Mall when I was growing up. Golden Ring Mall, I don't know if it's still there anymore. But I grew up about 15 minutes away from Golden Ring Mall in a community called East Rock. But it was actually going into St. Paul's at my mom, a car accident. Somebody ran into the back of her car, or one of her friend's car that was driving. And ended up being an accident. Obviously, it was one of the biggest blessings in my life because we moved from East Rock in a house that was too small for us. It was my brother, myself, and my mom, and we were in a 2-bedroom house. Really a one and some change, but we call it a 2-bedroom house. And when that accident happened, we ended up taking that money from the insurance money. We ended up taking that, using that as a down payment. And this is when I really got my first really inclination or taste of real estate, because I was able to use accident money or insurance money to be able to use that as a down payment, be able to give her kids a better place to live, which then allowed her to lock in her mortgage fixed rate, which was really beneficial because of the economical situation that we were in. It was really beneficial for her to be able to put myself and my brother through high school. But then pivoting over to real estate, moving from East Rock over to Owens Mills, the road that I took to school every day was called Green Spring Rally Road.
Right.
When you take Green Spring Rally Road, that was actually the road that a lot of our peers from St. Paul's lived on. And you saw a lot of these different mansions. You saw these houses that had acreage. And what you saw a lot of different types of houses. And I would always remember, as I left the house every day and I got dressed for school and I'm on my way to school, I would always remember that I would see these different houses. I would see these different what we call mansions, right? I would see these different mansions, and I would say, man, I'm gonna have one of those, right? And I was always curious to understand, hey, what do people do to be able to attain that type of wealth? What do these people do to be able to have one of these different types of houses? So I just remember St. Paul's always being really just a case study for me, right? Being able to be around these different people that are quote unquote the haves, the have-nots, but how they invested, how they spent their weekends, how they spent their time. And it's been a true testament of the way that I've spent my time, the way that I plan on, being able to give a certain quality of life for my kids, for my parents today, and for my siblings.
Absolutely,
Most definitely.
absolutely.
Most
I like how you touched on the real estate influence there as well. I was influenced really heavily by seeing. That's what I was trying to touch on earlier. The disparity in the opportunities or statuses of my family to that of my peers at school. Kind of seeing that difference really did inspire me in a very positive way. Even driving along roads like Green Spring and seeing. I mean, those are estates, right? Those are more than homes. Those are more than houses. So yeah, for sure. That's a good influence. Let's get into some of the I want to get into kind of the transition from high school into college. I know basketball had a very large part in that. So can we get into kind of I know you guys been playing basketball as long as you guys can run, but how did basketball help you guys to get from St. Paul's to the next level post high school?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to say it was basketball that did that, but maybe the lessons that we learned at St. Paul's in conjunction with basketball.
Gotcha.
So me and Nigel went to prep school to extend our opportunities or create more, at bats for us to have opportunity to play Division I basketball. Fortunately enough, through that perseverance, we were able to get to New Jersey Institute of Technology, NJIT, and play together, right? And once again, you'll see the theme in the story. Nigel, with no ego, wanting to win, recruits me from a Division II school to transfer to come and play, right? So that's a key thing that you'll probably see throughout our story is the lack of ego and the need to understand teamwork and being able to understand the main mission, which is to win or to achieve a bigger goal than yourself, right?
Right.
So we were able to go to NJIT, make a big difference, right? And meet a lot of different people at a school that is different than St. Paul's. These are schools that is not just one demographic. It's people from all over the world. All our friends are from all over the world, right? And you have the brightest minds. You have engineers, computer scientists, architects, mathematicians, right? You have the brightest minds, and you have one of the toughest and rigorous academic schedules, as well as playing Division I basketball. So I think what we learned was to be able to come together as a team to get a bigger goal accomplished, right? And I think that's the most important thing. And then the absence of hard work will get you nothing.
Right.
You need hard work, you need a team, and then you need to remove your ego and take ownership in what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to do for your team and your role with that team. So it's been actually a tremendous ride,
Yeah. That makes sense coming from a sports background. That's like what athletics really are you're supposed to get from them, And I like the fact that you kind of said, no, like we academically, holistically were well suited to go to a lot of different schools, but NGIT was where we chose to go to, in conjunction with our basketball talent, but our basketball talent wasn't our only ticket. So I respect it a lot that the well-roundedness is very important to highlight. Nigel, how about you? Was basketball? Nigel, you went to NJIT straight out of high school, if I'm not mistaken. Was that for basketball, or was that what made you go there first? Because I know you are a big basketball player, I have to think that helped to some degree. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just crazy for me to think that, you didn't take basketball super seriously.
Yeah, so my path is very similar to Winfield. I also went and did a preparatory year at a school out in Connecticut. But so what I would say is the work that we do is very egoless work, right? So when you think about that transition from Cardinal Gibbons over to St. Paul's, from St. Paul's over to NJIT, the path is no different. I really look at it as, it's very similar to what you guys are seeing Elon Musk do today, right? So Elon Musk doesn't go from Tesla to SpaceX to Twitter. He brings his team with him because Elon knows what he does really well, and he knows what his teammates can do really well. Well, having gone through that transition with Winfield, the Cardinal, the transition to St. Paul, the transition to NJIT, I know my skill set, right? I know his skill set, and I know that the dynamics of what we want to accomplish are very similar to what they've been in the past. Right, so if we know, that Winfield's going to go hard on the court, Winfield's going to go hard off the court, Winfield's going to study, right? So now we've built our nucleus around some key foundational points that have led to success in the past. So success for us, first we had to be able to define success. We were able to define that at a very young age, but working with Winfield, he's been battle tested. Being able to work with someone that's been battle tested, being able to work with someone that knows your flaws, knows your strengths, but ultimately has the willingness to be able to go hard in anything and everything that we do, as well as I'm sure you guys know from being a team, sometimes the people that you keep around you that prevent you from making certain mistakes, right? So I think that when we talked about what our parents and the foresight that our parents had and bringing us over, so they had the foresight, not that St. Paul's is going to be the greatest place or the worst place, but they had the foresight that, hey, look, this environment may be better or maybe different than what you may get from your neighborhood school, right? So being able to cultivate success is being able to surround yourself around people that have been through certain scenarios with you, being able to be with people that kind of know where you need, when and where you need to be picked up. But ultimately, our families have very similar foundations, and our families have taught us how to work best together and how to grow. And I think that's what's near into, I guess, a ladder success, which has been on the real estate side of the business.
Absolutely. I just want to run through this extensive college career here, too. I start with Winfield. College basketball, of course. I'm just touching on the basketball, guys, but I know that's not the main thing here. You did 2010, 2011 at West Wind Prep, if I'm not mistaken. You averaged 11.5 points per game. Pretty cool. You did 2011, 2012 at Clarion University. You recorded the second most points by a school rookie at 446. The next highest was 513. It's damn good. 15.9 points per game, second best freshman mark in the conference.
Jeez.
Yep. 2012, 2013, you went to. Oh, actually, you took a year not playing 2012, 2013 due to NCAA transfer rules. 2013, 2016, you were at NGIT running things up there, doing a great job. Of course, scored 1,140 points in your college career all time, which is a great accomplishment.
Oh,
yeah. If I'm this one kind of. Oh, let me say this one first. You also became a member of Omega Psi-Phi. Very cute, very cool. You are a cute frat brother. I'm not a member, but I think that's very cool. And this is the one thing I want to touch on. You acted as the athletic coordinator for NGIT. Is that true?
I coordinated a lot of things. I was technically like an ambassador for our team and for the program. So
Cool.
I would say, and you done me a lot of justice. Some of those points are wrong, especially West Wind. But I think when you talk about what I did in college, there were a couple of things that I did very, very well. I leveraged our sports cachet to talk with the university executives, the boards, the alumni associations, to be able to network at the highest level, which still is something that helps us to this day. I was recently at NGIT last weekend for their opening basketball game in the box with the president, his wife, all the board members, all the movers and shakers. Um, the second thing I think I did well was I studied. I got 2 degrees while I was there, MBA in finance and bachelor's in international business. And then the third thing I think I've done well is I've always stayed connected with the school and with the people there, and not being shy to ask for things. So outside of basketball, we use that as a tool to be able to set a foundation for ourselves that we still use today as we build businesses, as we build our careers, as other people who need help give me a call or text and they need to get connected to somebody that can give them a job. They've just been laid off, as we see people being laid off now, and they need to get in touch with somebody. So I think what we've been able to do, me and Nigel, collectively and also individually, is leverage our sports cachet to be able to set a foundation to get into particular networks, to be able to provide particular services, and then also to be able to make sure that we're being held accountable for being the best that we can be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just to follow up on that, I'm not going to leave Nigel hanging here. Nigel, of course, basketball is a big part of everything as well, but it's more of a tool for what you've done. 2011, 2012, you were at Marianapolis Prep School, spent 2011 2012 there. That is in Connecticut, and you scored an average of 20 points, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds per game. That's crazy. I'm not even sure if I've misquoted that. That sounds like insane.
Pretty creative.
It sounds insane. Like,
Yeah, double.
yeah, I'm saying to myself, is that 2012, 2012 to 2014 at NGIT, you had very good seasons, but missed the end of the last year at NGIT due to a shoulder surgery. Too much benching, too many push-ups, too much force on the dunks, I guess, man. But that's crazy. I'm sorry to hear that, but you made the Dean's List, which definitely makes up for that. 2014, 2016, you were at Palm Beach Atlantic University. You played basketball for 2 more years. You performed very well, and yeah, it's a great story. And I'm wondering, no fraternities at all? No brotherhoods? No Omega Psi Phi?
Yeah, no fraternities for me, man. When I was in college, like Winston, I spent a lot of time just with the people, right? I think that if you met my dad, you would understand me a lot more. But I mean, we really live our life to serve, right? So everything I do, I really just live like a servant leadership type of role. Any book that I read so that I could explore and I could basically share some of the different knowledge. Any podcast I listen to, really just any conversation I have, I want it to be a mutual exchange. But I think so many times in this life that we live, so often are we all trying to figure out, what's the next step and how can we grow? How can we be more efficient? How can we apply a little bit more direction, or how can we be a little more intentional in anything and everything that we do? So I spend my time just trying to learn to help people, which again, it's just another that Winfield and I really just see eye to eye on, where it's never about us, right? We believe that by doing good and doing well to others and being able to value to be used allows us to be able to infiltrate a lot of different rooms. Winfield also said very eloquently that sports has been a tool for us that people that maybe don't know who we are, or intimately don't really know who we are, they've been able to take a liking to us because of what they believe we can do athletically, right? I mean, I think that when you look at some of the different races, or if you look at some of the different income levels, or some social obligations that we have, sports has always been that one common thing, that one mediator that can bring different types of people together. And what we want to do is we want to find different ways to cultivate communities, as you talked about, with people to be able to be a part of different neighborhoods. We want people to be able to take pride in who their friends are, because I tell pride in who my friends are, because I think that, all of you guys work really hard every day to become the best version of yourself. And that accountability is still something that I take pride in every single day, where I feel like I build that force field around myself to be of value to you guys as well.
Yeah, I respect that, man. Yeah, service is everything. I was saying that earlier. We're gonna get into what you guys do. Not even gonna get into it yet, but service is everything. That is the reason why we have our startup. That's the reason why you have your startup. We create these products and put them out there for the world, to serve the world, to offer the world something of value that typically may be barred from them or made inaccessible to them for whatever reason. And we're here to serve them and make these things accessible, make these actions doable by them. We're just facilitating people to make better decisions, more autonomous decisions, and just be healthier, more holistically well. It's all about serving. And that's really where you end up getting the benefit in life, is by serving. It'll take care of you holistically, whether it's financially, mentally, emotionally. Serving people is the way that you build value and reap that value while living in this world. I want to get into your education, the beginnings of your work and your entrepreneurship now, because I'm getting excited about the myZorro. I want to get into it. I just want to, I want to ease into it. You guys have a lot of things you've done throughout your lives. Winfield, your education, you already touched on it. NGIT bachelor's degree in international business, NGIT master's of business administration with a focus in finance. Some of the work experiences from my perusing through your LinkedIn, I see that you worked at. I see your Bull Dev experience, which is, if I'm not mistaken, a real estate development firm. You were doing client relations between the appraisers, lenders, and borrowers within the Baltimore real estate development firm, and then you worked with 11 LLC. You can tell me more about these two, which is real estate development firm as well. You're acting as a manager, focusing on project budgets, field inspections, and procurement for project life cycles.
When I left college, 6 or 7 years ago, I didn't know really what I wanted to do, right? But I knew I wanted to do something in real estate. My father had an appraisal firm, so I said, hey, I want to come home and maybe that'd be my baseline to learn how to develop property and how to be able to make an impact on my community, because nothing has changed in the 5 years I've been gone, right? Everything is the same. No new buildings, no new opportunities, no anything, right? No retail stores. The 8th District of Baltimore doesn't have a sit-down restaurant. How can I be of service, like Nigel said, right? And then use our skill set to be able to execute. So, Bull Development, just to go into that, my father started the firm 40 years ago. As of the last 7 years, I've been running the firm. And primarily, we're a real estate development firm, but also we have an appraisal firm as well. And we're licensed in about 5 states, I believe. We're in Maryland, DC, Virginia, Michigan, and I think Delaware. So when I came back from college, I started to build a business. It took me about 6 months to get any work, right, after doing business development. I then went back to NGIT to start a PhD in data science.
Wow.
And while I was there, our business took off, right? So not only was I getting paid to be in a PhD program, I was also, our business was making a lot of money per month and generating a lot of revenue. So it got to a point where I couldn't use big data to do real estate. I had to do either biotech or I had to do finance, but I couldn't do it for what I wanted to do it for, because when you get into the doctoral politics, everybody wants you to work on what they want you to work on or what they think they'll approve so you can get your PhD. So I made a decision to leave and focus 100% on our appraisal and our development business. We then, as I've grown every year, we've grown the business every year, as well as we did single family houses. And then in the last couple years, we've transitioned to multifamily developments right now. We have 5 multifamily developments totaling about 400 units. We have 3 single-family developments that will be built next year, and 3 multifamily developments that will be starting construction next year and built in 2024, all having about $125 million in asset value once they're complete. And we're very mission driven. The number one thing I think we do is we go into minority areas that have traditionally never seen investment within the last 50 years. Imagine if your community has never seen investment in the last 50 years and how it would look like and what would be happening in that environment. So now me and Nigel, we work together with myZorro as well with Bull Development to generate those opportunities, right, for people. But, as far as the education piece and the work piece, we've been able to build this company over the last 7 years into what I think is probably the best emerging development company in the city, and hopefully in the next couple years in the country, where we'll be able to meet our thesis of showing that you can invest in our neighborhoods and get a higher return, that we are not just philanthropy or philanthropic effort where we need donations, but we are actually a safer place to invest than other places that people invest currently, and that we get higher returns. So that's really the breakdown of what I've been doing, especially with Bull Development over the last 5 or 6 years.
It's cool. Damn, man, that's good background. You learned a lot just now. Cool. It's really cool. And damn, we have to get back into that in a little bit. Nigel as well. So education based, want to start on that first. You got your degree from Palm Beach Atlantic University and New Jersey Institute of Technology, as though you continued on your degree and you got your bachelor's in business administration. Your work experience, once again, perusing into your LinkedIn, it's a bit weird, but I like kind of getting into these details. Blue Ridge IT Services and Consulting. And I remember, Nigel, seeing something when I was younger. This is when I realized that you were doing a lot more than just playing basketball. I remember seeing that you were doing like IT services, and you were one of the first people that I can remember imprinting on my brain, saying, "Oh shoot, he's doing IT." I ended up doing electrical engineering at Morgan State University, but I do remember that being like an eye opener. I don't remember where I saw it, perhaps on Facebook or LinkedIn. But yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. But you kind of made some jumps here in your career, Nigel. So we have to get into that as well. You also have acting under your belt, which I saw on your LinkedIn as well, and just by googling your name. We want to touch on that too. So just to run back for the audience, we have his education being Palm Beach Atlantic University in NGIT, Bachelor's of Business Administration, doing IT and network work, and then also having an acting career along with his basketball that we've been talking about throughout the whole podcast. But Nigel's been on the TV show. It's called The One That Got Away. It's an Amazon original, and it's actually pretty popular. It's almost like a dating reality show where it's like stuff we watch on MTV as kids, where it's pretty cool. And I have no idea how
These brothers talented.
No, I have no idea how. I get it. You're a big guy, got the muscle. I get it. Like, okay, go on the show and do your thing. But how did you go about? Just tell us everything, man. From your education, how did your degree end up helping you? Your work experience, and how did the acting thing come about?
Yeah, man. So it's been interesting, right? So since leaving New Jersey, I went over to a school called Palm Beach Atlantic University. Going to Palm Beach Atlantic University, continued my NJIT. I actually started the master's program as well halfway through that. Not sure if I'll complete it, but yeah, we'll see. But after my time at work, I went over to LA. Since being in LA, I mean, I always had interest in tech and real estate, which really has been going over at myZorro. But on the tech side, what I find really interesting is these different business processes. So bouncing around to a couple of different tech companies, I found it just interesting to see how many of these business processes are. But reps like myself are, closing millions of dollars of business every single year. So, really just going through the product, learning some of the different ways that these products are set up, understanding how these products are built, understanding how these products are being developed year over year. I also had a small stop um, at a real estate private equity firm for a little bit. Basically, we got into a little came down to them saying that while I can be at their firm, I can't do my own projects. So that didn't work out really well for them because I already knew that I had the best developer on my team, which is Winfield. So it didn't really make sense for me to work with them or bring my network to be able to raise capital for me to just work alongside Winfield and find different projects that we believe are captivating to our audience, our people, to build our neighborhoods instead of doing the same transactional redundant projects which go into their neighborhoods in your LA, your New Yorks, and your Miamis. However, since living in LA, there's a lot of cameras out there, right? There's a lot of people out there doing some really cool things in the entertainment industry. As you previously mentioned, Winfield and I did play basketball for a better part of our life. Which feels weird because we don't even talk about sports anymore, which is so crazy. It's like a past chapter that may or may not have happened, but maybe it'll be a part of the story one day. But yeah, so I was reached out to. It's been almost 2.5 years now, and I was reached out to by Amazon, and basically what Amazon did was they said, "Hey, look, we're going to do a first series of a show called The One That Got Away." And what's impressive about that show is what they did was they brought people back from elementary school, middle school, high school, and or college, or even really just life beyond. But it's really based on misconnections. And I think that a lot of times we have so many misconnections, and I think that Winfield and I have built a business based off of misconnections. In this case, it was misconnections, but in the case of our business, there are people that we've met. I think you guys are a true testament of just great people that we've met along the way that are doing some really cool things in the business world. That now what we do is we recultivate those relationships to be able to see how we can be of service to those different individuals. In the case of the TV show, I don't know what service I was to those individuals other than bringing up some past experiences that we had and being able to showcase those on the TV screen.
Yo, that's amazing, bro. That's really one of the coolest things ever. So, like, how has it affected your life now having this audience? Have you been recognized by anyone, or do you have like a group of fans? Like, oh, Nigel.
I can definitely tell you that people definitely reach out. People will DM. So I get a decent amount of DMs. I can definitely tell you that people just they're just hyper aware, right? So I think that when you look at any of these platforms, your Amazons, your Netflix, your Hulu's, essentially what they are is just trampolines, right? And I think one of my good friends in LA told me, he said, "Man, look, you're about to go through this next experience is going to be for you by being on to be a trampoline for people to be able to see some of the great things that your friends as well as yourself are working on." And I think that what it's done for us is it's heightened our visibility and it's allowed us to be able to be more successful in a way because people now, again, very similar to the basketball effect, where people that didn't necessarily know or have a genuine interest in us now took a look a couple layers beneath, right? So it's no different than a person saying, "Hey, actually, no, the inner workings of this car is actually really good." And I think that that's what Amazon has done for us. It's been able to give us a trampoline where different people that may not have taken a look at bull development, or different people that would have looked at myZorro, now have complete visibility.
Wow. Yeah, of course. I was really wondering, like, how are you using this as a tangible boost for your business ventures? And you just explained it. Yeah, it's perfect. Do you plan to continue acting, man? That's one question. The second question is, can you get me a role? I've been told a lot. I could play a mean. Nah, I've been told, bro. I could play a mean, like, Black Panther's son. So, like,
Yo.
nah, I'm dead ass, bro. Like, put me on. I can act. I just go up there and be myself.
No, I can tell you for sure. Like, I definitely honestly know a lot of producers now, right? Having been in LA, know a lot of producers, know a lot of people that write some really powerful shows that a lot of us like and still watch. Hold on. Oh,
Your second question.
Oh, my second
Mike, what was your other question?
Yeah, I was just asking, how do you plan to continue acting? Do you plan to continue acting?
Yeah. Yeah, so on the acting side, probably not. But I think you never know, right? Like I'm still in LA, so opportunities come. Looking down the street probably about a month ago, and I met a director, and he's like, "Hey, man, I want to write you into my series, right? So we're working on a pilot right now. I want to write you into my series. So anything is possible. But I am hyper focused on the podcast that Winfield and I are working on. So one podcast that Winfield and I are working on is really going to be real estate focused. We're building out very similar to what you guys are doing here to be able to get people relevant news in their respective markets, right? I think that there's a lot of movement in some of these markets that people just don't have access or visibility to. So we will be releasing that very shortly.
Awesome.
And then I have a podcast myself that I'm hosting called When the Ball Stops Bouncing, right? So I have a lot of athletes that are now dominating the business world, former Olympians. Some people have built some of these biochemical companies and renewable energy companies. That it's a lot of people that were able to transition from some of the attributes and some of the different tendencies that they built from the athletic standpoint. But now they've been able to curate some of that same success in the business. So I really want to get some of those stories out and be able to share with some of my athlete counterparts.
No, I love that, man. I love that. Literally, that's exactly what we're trying to do as well. It's just like there's so many people doing cool things, and just to be like brief about it, there's so many people doing cool things. It's just like, can we get these stories out to people? Can we become a center for people to share their triumphs, their tribulations, their inspirations, which can help others to accomplish similar things that they may be dreaming of as well. So, no, I totally get that. That's a big deal. Especially with you guys, creating myZorro. And guys, this is really why I wanted to bring you on so much. I love the idea of myZorro. And the way I kind of conceptualize it is you're solving a big problem here. And it's like the inaccessibility that many demographics typically face within the real estate market, right? Typically, I mean, there are things like FHA loans where you can, put your 3.5% down and buy your home. There are means of accessing real estate ownership or real property. But in general, for a serial real estate investor or someone who wants to actually turn this into an ROI scheme, it's difficult. You need to have a large amount of capital to start off with, and that initial barrier to entry simply prevents many people from participating. What you guys are doing with myZorro, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're basically adding on decentralization to a very centralized industry. So you're saying, okay, if you have X amount of dollars you can use to contribute to the sum needed to acquire this property, then we'll share the profits earned from this property when it's sold or when it's leased out or whatever over its lifespan, or whatever you guys are going to do. You're going to share those dividends with the people who have helped to acquire the property. That's brilliant. And it just kind of falls in line with this whole new aspect, this new wave of society. It's decentralization. Everything is decentralized, right? That's what blockchain's about. That's what smart contracts are about. That's what social media is damn near about. It's just about taking the power away from central intermediaries and distributing that power or that throughput to the users of the platform. So the platform isn't anything without the users, and the users almost constitute the platform itself. So that it's a beautiful thing. And yeah, guys, just I guess, how did you guys really establish myZorro? Let's get into it. Just tell me all about it.
But before I let Nigel go, because I think he does a great job of explaining it, let's kind of set a little context on, or really a proof of concept on how or why this works. When we raised for our previous projects that we have, or our current projects that we have now, without myZorro, we had 90% of the people were black or people of color. 50% were women. And I believe about 80% either lived in Baltimore City or were from Baltimore City. Now, why is this important? The access to people, the access to investment, I would say, usually isn't given to people that look like us, or it's said that we don't want to invest or are not interested in those type of things.
Right.
Now, the numbers that I just gave you prove that that's not true, that we are interested, and if we have the opportunity, we'll take it.
Right.
But then it also shows you that people who are from particular communities, if they cannot bring their bodies back, they'll bring their dollars. As long as there's a great opportunity presented by the right people and are people they trust. So I just wanted to set that context as a baseline, that we do have proof of concept that this does work. And now all you need is scale. And I think Nigel does a good job of explaining why people shouldn't just go and do this themselves. Real estate is not an individual sport. We've been talking about team the whole time. It is a team sport. And you can only be successful at it is if you do it at scale and you do it through private means.
Wow.
Okay. So as we talk about, right, so when we talk about building a nucleus and you talk about solving problems, right? So if you look at our track record of building our nucleus and solving problems, what we saw is there's an impending problem when it comes to real estate. There's an impending problem when it comes down to entry points. So if we think back to, let's go recent history. We call it history because it's the pandemic, and no one and everyone will, it's cemented in our brains when we think about the pandemic. But if you think back, I don't think there has been 1 week or potentially where you've gone on Instagram, you haven't seen something regarding real estate. When I say something regarding real estate, I'm saying Airbnb, right? So no matter who you are, no matter if you're a multi-millionaire, no matter if you are a thousandaire or 100,000aire, access to real estate. The reason why people are running to make money, but because the entry point is a matter of me just. What we found is, and when you think about what we're building at myZorro, we've built the ability to put the neighbor back in the hood to create neighborhoods, right? For anything and everything we want to do, we want to be additive. We want to be able to create neighborhoods where when people grow up, or let's just say if you don't live in Baltimore, in the case because our projects are in Baltimore, when you point to where you live at, when you point to where you are in your life, you want to be able to say, hey, look, this is my house. It's proud of. Well, what we want to do is we want to be able to not only give you something that you're proud of, but we also want to be able to give you something that you own. Right, so I think there's so much of what we talk about today is ownership. So much of what we talk about today is equity. We want to give people the control. We want to give people the lower the barrier to entry, where you can now have equity. You can now have ownership in your community, because we believe that we have some of the best dynamics in the world in our communities. Now, Winfield also brought up a point where he talked about, hey, if I want to do this at scale, if I want to be the best at what I do. Let's say I'm an actor, for instance, and I'm remembering my lines, or I'm preparing for my next big role. Doesn't it make sense for me to just be the best actor that I can possibly be while not having to worry about being, let's just say, a real estate developer? Right. If I know the best real estate developer in a lot of other communities, I know the best lawyer, if I know the best real estate developer, if I know the best mechanic, right? These are the people that I'm going to go to solve those problems. So if I'm the best actor, and why wouldn't I then, if I want to invest in real estate, why wouldn't I find the best real estate developer? Well, we've done that for you. We take pre-vetted deals on myZorro platform, where an investor, whether they're the best actor or they're the best at whatever they like to do in their career, can now invest and have access to real estate. But what's different is you're being able to invest in your communities. You're able to invest in pre-vetted deals, and the barrier to entry could be as little as $100 per month. Wow. Right. So if you have $100, you now have the ability to get access to these deals. You now have the ability to be able to invest and change communities that look like the communities that you grew up in. And that's what myZorro was on.
Wow. So basically, what you're saying is, just to make sure I'm understanding everything, is like there are a lot of different nuances and specialty tasks that need to be done to properly go about acquiring real estate. And for an individual to be expected to accomplish these goals without having the proper training or the time to do them properly, it may not be worth doing it. So you're more so highlighting the benefits of, I guess you could call it, I don't want to say exporting the work, but there's a very proper word for this. But
it's crowdsourcing talent. You're crowdsourcing talent, but you're also crowdsourcing money,
Sure.
right? So if I can get the best team together, as we always talk about teamwork, right? There's positions on every team. So if I can put together the best possible to get me to the same end goal without me, maybe my role in this case is just to bring my money to the table, right? Maybe your role is that you have the expertise in the deal. Maybe someone else's role is that they have the expertise in operations. Let's put that talent together. Matter of fact, let me give you a better example. If we were taking a vacation, what would we do? We would all put our money together in order to be able to get the nicest place to stay, go to the best restaurants, and have the best experience. Why don't we do that in real estate? Why don't we do that in business?
Right. So with your focus, your geographic focus, you're focused in Baltimore, right? And I know you guys have some acquisitions in the Park Heights area. I think that's Zone 15. Do you guys feel comfortable telling like some of the acquisitions, like and where they are and stuff like that, or is that too deep?
No, I don't think that's too deep. So hold on, give me 2 seconds.
I know, step away to mention why you chose to be.
myZorro? I think you got it.
Yeah, so I would say we have one project in Park Heights, 289 units, mixed-use property at Rogers Avenue Station.
Right.
We have one that's two in Irvington neighborhood on Frederick Avenue. That would total about 129 units with some commercial space as well, urban farm. We have one in the Gwynn Falls community by Mondawmin. That's an 8-unit. We have 24 units on West Baltimore Street in Franklin Square, right near downtown. That's about 24 units with commercial space as well, rooftop garden, community space. So all in all, 400 plus units, $125 million in value. And deliveries on all of those will be next year in 2024. And next year, we're also planning to add to our pipeline, hopefully over 1,000 units to put in there and double those every year if we can, depending on the market conditions. But yeah, so those are all where we're focused. We've been primarily focused on the west side, so we're going from northwest to southwest. We're in every single city council district except, I think, District 10, which we hope to be in next year, about Q2.
It's great.
So I don't know if you guys, we appreciate it.
That 100-odd units over by the Wabash is crazy, man. That's really insane.
Running it up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes, no, that's going to be amazing. And, I'm actually about to move over right across the street from that project. So that'll also be Bull Development's headquarters. And hopefully, depending on where Nigel lives, we'll have an office there for myZorro and maybe an office where he lives. But I think this is important because I think what you guys have said is the crowdsourcing, crowdfunding. We're not really changing any concept that hasn't been already done. We're just applying technology, making it a little bit more convenient for people. And then what we're doing, I think, is really unique, is that we have the access and the ability to be a conduit to a community that has never seen development or have seen the ability and opportunity for investment. So if I'm a people, no, go ahead.
Let me ask you, what is two things? Can you explain more so the link between, or really just the full process? I want to go on myZorro right now and I want to invest. Step by step, what do I need to do?
Can we start first before Nigel goes where traditionally how it's done? Because I think we need to know the contrast of what it is.
Yeah.
Traditionally, what ends up happening is there's a network of people that are friends, and there's a guy like me that says, hey, I have a project in East Baltimore, and I'm going to build 50 units. I need $2 million. Do you know anybody, or can you introduce you to anybody? And then those people will make those introductions. And then eventually they'll raise the $2 million. And then over time they will get developed. And that person would have a deck. They'll pitch. They'll do all these things. They'll build their team. And then they'll build the apartment building. And then eventually they'll probably sell it and return money, as well as giving money from cash flows during the process of that building's operations. That seems like a closed network, right? And it's very limited on who gets access, right? And I think Nigel will do a great job of explaining why that's a problem, but then also how we solve it and how it works.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I mean, Winfield spoke really well to it today. Like, it's an access game, right? And I think that the way that I see access is a couple of different ways, right? So our projects create value, one, in a way where you own real estate, right? Who doesn't want to own real estate? Everyone wants to own a piece of real estate. Two, by you owning real estate, you're adding value to the community, but you're also creating a passive income. I remember when I first invested into the stock market, not that I was great at it, but I invested, let's just say $100, and I turned $100 into $120. And I said to myself, hey, look, what if I would have invested $1,000? That would have been a $2,000 gain that would have got up to that same amount of money. So for me, it was a scale up. The next piece that's really interesting about what we do at myZorro is, that by you investing in real estate and by Winfield and his team being able to create value, it allows you to be an accredited investor. See, so few of people that look like us are even accredited investors, which allows you to have access to some of these private deals, like an Uber, right? Have access to some of these private deals, like, let's just say real estate, for example, or some of these, Airbnb, Amazon, all of these companies that other people have had access to that then have been able to create millions into the billions of dollars with a simple investment. Right? I mean, there's a rumor going around about a gentleman that, invested $5,000 in Uber in its infancy. That $5,000 is now worth $20 million. Well, again, that comes down to access. So with myZorro, what we want to do is we want to make a really seamless, really easy, an exciting way for you to be able to experience a gamified approach. When you go to myZorro.io, and upon going to our website, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to sign up. Now, once you sign up, it doesn't mean that you have an obligation to invest into deals or into any real estate. But what it does is it gives you access. It gives you the ability to open up your mind and to be able to understand some of the projects that we're a part of. It gives you the ability to understand how to look at a real estate deal. It gives you the ability to understand the team that's a part of the deal, the projected return, or let's just say the money that you will potentially get out after investing your capital, how long it takes for that capital to appreciate, when the dividends or when the payout will be made for individuals that invest in deals. But most importantly, it gives you the opportunity to invest in your community. It gives you the opportunity to own real estate in your community. It gives you the opportunity to create a passive income and to create generational wealth.
I love that. I love the fact that I don't think I misheard you. You said a gamified approach, right? Where it's simple to use, easy, intuitive. And that's exactly how the website looks. When I go on there, I like it. That blue, the white. It reminds me of my APPAREL platform in terms of the layout, design, simplicity. I love it. So I guess, and I can use this right now, right? I can go on the website right now and I can invest. I can go on, upload some funds, and I can actually, I see you have 5 or 6 properties on there right now that anyone can become a partial owner of, right? So I can go on there right now and do this.
Yeah, so we had a really successful year this year. We were able to fund 3 deals completely this year. What we're going to do is we're going to take a pause for the rest of this year. Right now, obviously, it's the end of November, going into December. But I will say at the top of the year, we're going to have some really, really exciting projects. I just had a conversation with Winfield. We were having a planning conversation for next year. Next year is going to be really exciting. One thing I can say is each deal that we've done in the past, every deal that has come after that initial deal and so on and so forth has got significantly better and significantly safer, right? So for us, what we want to do is we want to mitigate and remove as much risk as possible. And without being too detailed, I can let you know that, Winfield is a tireless worker. His team, they scrutinize and over scrutinize these deals to be able to find any risk, any impending risk that could be in these deals to make these deals as safe possible for you, so that as you place capital in these deals, we can get you the most predictable outcome as possible.
And you guys do have calculators on your website that kind of show a projection of what the projected earnings would be if a person were to invest. I saw that as well. That was very cool. Yeah, that's very cool. And you kind of showed what those earnings would be in comparison to a savings account where you have your typical or average interest rate. So yeah, I really like what you guys were doing on there. How did you guys build your website? We've talked about a lot of stuff between our different startups, in collaborations in the past. How did you guys build your software? Where do you see, or do you use blockchain? This is kind of my electrical engineering nerdy side. I know you guys have the same side of you from going to NJIT. Well, talk about the technology a little bit. What's involved? Is there any blockchain, smart contracts?
Yeah, so some of the blockchain and smart contracts that we have coming next year probably excites us more than we've been able to accomplish last year. We have a lot of predictive analysis and predictive information that we want to really spearhead, and as we capture more data from some of our different investors, and as we build out and we capture a wide base of investors, we want to be able to predict what deals make the most sense for our users, and predict what deals make the most sense based off of the return profile that you're interested in. Right? Some of these projects, I mean, as you can imagine, they don't happen overnight. Right? It's not you don't just stand a 289 unit building overnight, right? There's a process that goes into that, but there's also a process that goes into, let's just say, if we did a rehab, or a process that goes into building a single family house. So what we want to do is we want to be able to guide you as best as we possibly can from the predictive analysis and from the blockchain, to be able to be able to put you in a position where you can seamlessly move funds, but also put you in a position where you can have the most attractive opportunities for your eyes and for your investment abilities.
Awesome. That's awesome. The integration of new technologies, man, is a big thing. And even like without the smart contracts being integrated, you're already implementing the main ethical purpose of smart contracts, which is decentralization. You're applying decentralization to real estate acquisition. So in essence, even if you don't have a single smart contract in operation, you're damn near what smart contracts are all about. So I really do love that too.
Yeah, I think when you talk about smart contracts,
and
yeah, go ahead, Nigel.
Well, yeah, no, I just took this opportunity to really just give the credit to the team that we had, because while you guys are looking at Winfield now today, we do have a development team, right? One of our developers, his name is Winston. He really, you talk about burning the midnight oil. Talk about a dude that's just really just willing to stay up 2-3 o'clock in the morning and really just make sure that things are ready. If and when we do release deals, it's a lot of work that goes into this, making it as simple as possible for people to be able to invest in, as well as we have a creative team, as well as we had a few ad hoc developers that came in and they look, I'm willing to do the work, I'm willing to learn the platform, I'm willing to learn the vision that Winfield and I have. I don't want to miss the opportunity to shout those guys out, because obviously having these great ideas are awesome, but without guys that can really just implement and really just, all the way through from the development team, all the way down to the operations, all the way down to making sure we have the proper escrow accounts built to be able to make sure that these funds can come in and that these deals can be funded in a timely fashion.
Yeah, I'm just going to mention that the smart contracts make a lot of sense, right? And I think over time you'll see that will become a common business practice, and you'll see a lot of funds, you'll see a lot of private syndications work through smart contracts and blockchain as the technology gets better and gets adopted, right? I think we're very early when it comes to that technology. I think we're very early with a lot of different things in the integration of technology like blockchain platforms still like social media and how that will evolve over the next couple years, and just a cultural thing of everything transitioning to business and the visibility of business people. So, I think that all this stuff is hitting like a conversion point, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I am too. Um, I have like 2 or 3 more questions that I want to get through. We can talk about this all day though. Um, in terms of your team, you guys aren't very egotistical. You're not ego driven. However, what are your roles in the team? I did see online you guys have 8 members, if I didn't miscount. I think Nigel, you're the CEO. Winfield, you're the CIO. What are your other roles, and how did your team form? How long did you guys kind of come together, and what's your business structure like? Is myZorro the name of the entity, or is myZorro.io simply your web address? Kind of tell us more about the intricacies of your entity.
Yeah, so myZorro is the name of the entity. If I go into some of the different, work and some of the different hats that our team members have to wear, I think this call could probably go for another 2 or 3 hours. Simple reason is these guys are willing to get on calls. These guys are willing to do the work. I mean, no one's full time just yet, right? So while a lot of us have full time roles when it comes down to rails, whether it's even from the research side, whether it's on the implementation side, whether it's on the development side, like Winfield talked about, it's a lot of thankless work that goes on today. But we're willing to do thankless work right now in order to make sure that we can build out the most robust and the strongest platform for you all to be able to invest in. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we can remove as much risk as possible, so that when you're looking at some of these different deals, you can feel the team, you can feel the energy. And I can see it in the case of the deals that we've been able to get funded thus far. Winfield's done an amazing job, and a job of driving people to the actual site, allowing them to actually touch the soil and feel the energy of what we are going to put on these different structures. And when you talk about graphic development, there's a lot of moving pieces. So while you see 8, individuals on, the myZorro.io website, there's so many moving parts that go into these deals. And again, I don't think that we can thank the team enough that's been able to put forth the effort and put forth the work to make sure that we're successful.
Definitely. And you guys do also another cool thing. You allow people who own properties to submit their properties for sale also, right? So if I have a property, I can submit it to myZorro and say, hey, could you guys acquire this, right? So you kind of have that yeah.
I was about to say I would correct that.
Yeah.
It's more, you can put your deal on there so we can bring our network of investors there and people can have access to your deal. So if you have a property that you want to acquire, develop, rehab, or operate for cash flow, you can put it on, bring it to us, we'll vet it, and then we'll present it to our group. So we're placing capital into those deals, giving access to things that probably people would never get. You wouldn't imagine how many deals that we probably see per week, per month, per year that people just don't do, or they don't have access to funds. And when it comes to the plight of a black developer, syndicator, or operator, the access to capital is still not there. And if you do get access to capital, you need to bring a little bit of capital with you to do that. So if you don't have that, even the access that you may have, you can't receive. So I'll give an example. If you have $100 million deal and you probably normally need about 25% in equity. So it's about 25 million. You, as a sponsor, need about 5% of that 25 million to be able to even get access to any capital or equity capital from institutions, accredited investors that can be placed. So if you don't have that 5%, it doesn't matter if you have access.
Mm-hmm.
right? So this can somewhat be a conduit for that 5%, right? So if you're talking about on 25 million, 10% of 25 is what, 2.5. So after that, 1.75. So you have, you can raise that, from investors on our platform to be able to now allow you to have $100 million deal executed. These are the things that we don't talk about or don't know, right? Because this is an industry that no one knows really much about other than the people that are in it. And that's by design. Mm-hmm. So we have to make sure that we're telling people that it's not only an issue that our investors or our people in our community can't get opportunity to these investments, but even the people who have the investments are blocked due to certain capital requirements that they cannot meet, or they have to give a majority of their deal to meet, which defeats the purpose of even having that person doing what they're doing, and also limits the diversity in the industry, especially at the C-suite level, at the developer level, at the operator level, at the fund manager level. It just limits everything and limits the opportunities.
I got you. So in a way, back to the original thing that I was asking about is like, essentially, I'm understanding more. Bull development will actually almost act as a submitter of acquisitions to myZorro in a similar way anyone else could via your myZorro intake form. So that's almost the same type of flow in. I kind of understand that a lot more now. And also, I wanted to know again, what is the business entity? Is it myZorro? Is it what, like, when you guys are eventually becoming publicly traded, which I see happening in the future sometime? What is the entity of the business? Is it myZorro, or is it another name behind it?
I think Nigel mentioned it's myZorro. And it's a simple LLC structure. Mm-hmm. We haven't taken any outside capital, so no reason to move to a C Corp or anything. Okay. Right? So we've just been essentially self-funded up to this point. Right. And we may stay that for a while. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody's aware of the market that we're in, especially when it comes to venture. Maybe seed investing is still active, but being in a place like Baltimore, or not being in, San Francisco, New York, places like that for fintech type companies, it becomes a little bit difficult. I do think Baltimore, just to speak about our city for a quick second, has a emerging tech scene that I think cannot be ignored, and the mayor and the state government are putting a lot of resources and attention on, the Equitech, Techstars. There's another lab that they have, I think it's maybe Banneker Ventures or something like that. That's a lab near Port Covington. These things are happening in Baltimore City, and I think we can't get ignored, and I think we should all get into that ecosystem as time moves on. But we want to make sure that we create a solid footing. We want to make sure we get our mobile app and get in people's pockets, so then we can't be ignored, and then we can also see how easy it is when you don't have to type a website in.
For real. So I want to get into that. Like, what's next for myZorro? You kind of just mentioned, the mobile application coming next. What do you foresee over the next year? You guys are talking about some projections also, and some things you want to start integrating over the next year. But what do you see next for myZorro as we start to, culminate and give the audience something to take away to, summarize everything? What can they look forward to? What can we look forward to?
Yeah, so you're going to see growth on all fronts, right? You're going to see the technology grow. You're going to see the deals themselves get a lot better. Right? I think we've had some of the best deals that I've seen, like even since being at the private equity company. I've seen that, we've had significantly better deals than that. But I think that you're also going to see our team grow. Right? And our team it could be internal members at myZorro, but it can also be some of the different operators that we're able to bring on the platform. Winfield and I, we have strategic goals on how we want to bring on operators, how we want to infiltrate different markets. And I think that over the course of the next 12 months, you'll see tremendous growth. You may not even recognize myZorro anymore because we believe that let's take that trampoline, raise millions and millions of dollars to be able to really have an impact in a lot of these different communities that have similar dynamics and similar makeup that we see over in Baltimore.
Right. Hey, and real quick, why myZorro? Why the name myZorro? You guys gotta tell us, because we didn't even ask that. That's a central question. Where'd you get the name from?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's probably a little before your time. But there was a character by the name of Zorro. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Robin Hood. But Zorro, he was the Spanish Robin Hood, so he would make sure that instead of taking from the poor, we actually take from some of the rich and some of the wealthy, and really just balance that wage gap, and really just create more opportunities, and really just give access. Right, at the end of the day, we want to just give more and more access to individuals that deserve it. I don't think access needs to be limited, stretched. I think that we all have been houses. I think we all are proud of where we're from. We want to give people the opportunity to not only just be proud of where they're from, but also have ownership of where you're from.
Yeah. Nah, for real. That's good background. I don't even know that cartoon, Zorro. They knew it. Apparently, like they knew that they had a Z on his shirt or something like that. That's cool. That's what's up. Look, guys, I love the fact that we were able to get this together. I love the ideas of myZorro. I love the fact that I was able to learn more, and that we were able to kind of ferment this this connection and let it grow and turn into something a bit more fruitful in the future. Guys, this is really, really good that we can kind of bridge the connection between our startups. You see, the fintech space was typically run by people who don't look like us, I'll say, right? And I think now it's just beautiful to see that it's becoming a commonality to see, black people in fintechs, black people not only in STEM, but actually leading their own fintech organizations with their own visions and plans to help mitigate some of the inequalities in our communities that we're suffering from. I think these are the things that this podcast kind of accentuates, and it shows the importance of, right? What's going on. Now kids can see this and be inspired. Other creators can see this and be inspired. Let me guys tell you, for the audience, Lenderblock Corporation, the host of this podcast, I'm the CEO of Lenderblock Corporation. Lenderblock Corporation creates software that allows members to have access to FICO-FREE credit. The first app that we created is the Blender platform, and the second app is the partner platform. I created these two apps to allow people to lend and borrow peer-to-peer without having to go through the bank, after realizing that many people have poor FICO credit scores, low debt to equity ratios, or simply just no means of banking services. And typically what we're doing is just taking age-old financial social practices and revamping them into the modern age with blockchain, smart contracts, and apps to provide transparency, legitimacy, documentation, and accountability for all members. That's what we do here. And there's a very clear parallel between what Lenderblock Corporation is mission to accomplish and what myZorro and Bull Development are mission to accomplish in the sense of providing equitable access to these financial tools, whether it's credit, through credit lines, social services such as group fund saving, whether it's through real estate investment opportunities for in communities which are black majority inhabited and by black people who live in those communities also. So that's the whole thing that we're building up here. This is one of my favorite interviews that we've done thus far because of the true gravitas of the connection between us. There's something very solid. And as you guys know, as I've been talking to you guys, let me know if you want that app built. I got y'all. I definitely got y'all.
I'll say less.
All right. We also have Kevin on my left. He popped in a little bit late. You guys can't even see Kevin. I'm not sure.
What up, Nigel?
Yes.
What up,
I
Winfield?
don't even know if they can really see us. They've been on audio.
No, I can't. We can't see nobody. What's good?
That's a spoiler.
Let's go.
What's up, bro? How y'all feeling?
I've been up since 4 hunting, so I'm tired.
Oh, for sure.
Nah, man, tell us about that.
It's time to eat,
You out
man.
there in the wilderness hunting, man. Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in rural Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania. We got a farm up here, and it's first day of hunting season, so it's like a holiday up here. So we went out about 4:30 in the morning, prepared. Sun came up around 7. I think I shot my first buck at 8,
Hey,
and
Hold
we
up.
ready to get back out there.
big antlers.
You killed him? You killed him?
Yeah. Usually you try to kill them.
Kill him down. But you kill him and then what?
Eat it.
You gut them, you get all the guts out of it, heart, everything, and then they got it in the barn right now, skinning it. And we probably throw it on the grill, got some deer steak or something like that.
Oh, y'all doing it. The
That's
whole,
what's up.
the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I'm trying to get one more today, or maybe tomorrow morning. Depends. I want to get out there before the sun go down, but yeah, hunting is it's a lot of parallels to life, like being prepared, opportunities coming across your face that you're gonna miss. You may only get one shot in the day, and you gotta wait. It's cold as shit outside, so like you got a whole bunch of stuff just telling you to go home, right? And it's a great experience. Anytime y'all ever want to come up, and all right, we can do that. That's an easy thing.
That'd be a cool little thing.
Never hunted
My
yet.
life.
You hunted yet?
Yeah, I've hunted.
Are y'all shooting like guns with ammo, or is it like
I think they shoot.
like is it bullets?
Bro.
Like
Yeah.
bullets?
It's a rifle. It's a rifle, so it's bullets. So if you shoot a person, they're gonna die.
Right.
So yeah, it's not.
Not a game. No BB gun.
Yeah, it's not a game out here. So
Right.
it depends. Like they do archery and stuff, but that's on like the
bow and arrow
spring.
and all kinds of that's different.
Yeah, I'm good. They were telling me about that today. I'm good on that. You got to actually like sneak up on the deer. You may get one shot a week. I'm good. You got to plant. Yeah, they said the deer duck arrows. I'm like, how they ducking arrows?
They getting smarter. Yeah, for sure. So
But,
you got a buck. How big were the antlers?
I think it was a 7-pointer. I think it was a 7-pointer. So it wasn't that big. I missed the big one. The first one I saw was a big one.
All right.
And I don't know why I didn't shoot. I just was like,
It's too beautiful.
I think it's too close.
All right.
Yeah, I just thought it was too close. And I thought it saw me too. So, because I moved a little bit, so I thought it saw me. So I let it go. But I got one. So hopefully I get another one today.
Dinner.
Cat. So do y'all have fan? How old are y'all, by the way? Y'all like, what, 29, 30, 31?
30.
30?
30, yeah, 30.
Yeah. Y'all have kids yet?
Yeah, I got 2 kids. One 10, one 3. I was but I guess you called me a teenage parent. I was a teen when I was 19 years old.
Damn. So you were at which school were you at when you had your first child?
I was at Clarion,
Okay.
and then when he was born, I had just went to NJIT,
Damn.
like just there, like first month. So yeah.
That's tough. Damn, that's cool. And now you taking your time? No children yet?
Nothing yet, man. Waiting on y'all. Let you go first, big dog.
Got that big, bro. Got that. You know, it's what
Hey,
I still like it on my show for my low.
I thought she would have met the right one on the one that got away, man.
She got away, man. She gone.
No cap.
That's funny.
No, that's tough, bro. Shoot, what y'all got going on? I guess for the rest of the year, Christmas coming up. Y'all gonna be in town anytime soon? You could probably try to get a little secondary stream going or something like that. A little internal podcast. Just let me know. But what do y'all have planned for the rest of the year?
I live at the crib, so let me know. I'll pull up on you anytime. But I'm traveling next week, and you got Christmas and all that stuff. But it's really working for the rest of the year.
Right.
And then maybe I'll travel for New Year's. We may go somewhere as a family for New Year's.
Awesome. Beautiful. It's awesome. All right, guys. I'm not even gonna hold you up too long because it's basically still Thanksgiving weekend, guys. This was absolutely a phenomenal podcast. I want to check my notes real quick. I just want to make sure. I'm going to make sure I'm not missing a thing here. I use notes, guys. This isn't off the top of the dome. I do research. Like I said, myZorro.io. Can you guys give them any social media platforms that they need to be plugged in to follow you guys, whether it's Discord, Twitter, Instagram, websites? Just one more time, run through.
Yeah, I jump in. The easiest way to find me is just on Instagram. First name, last name, Nigel.
It broke up a little bit, but he said Nigel Sydnor. That's Nigel space Sydnor. Sydnor. And then Winfield, you got any?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Win Willis, and I believe our myZorro is our Instagram.
Yep.
So, and very easy to find us. DM us. We're quick to respond. Very easy to talk to.
Awesome. All right, guys. We appreciate y'all once again. And we sorry for technical difficulties. Y'all were absolute champs. For y'all not even be able to see the other side, at least y'all can see each other to kind of like bounce stuff off each other. But this went very well. We're letting the crowd know that this was a triumph after some technical difficulties. We thank y'all for tuning in. And we're going to let our very esteemed guests go. They're busy. And we're going to carry on a little bit more on the Lenderblock Live podcast right now.
We appreciate you guys.
Thank y'all.
This is the Lenderblock podcast, brought to you by Lenderblock Corporation, the creators of the Blender platform and the partner platform. This is the Lenderblock podcast.